Buying a vehicle in the Wabash Valley has never been so easy. Just point, click, and take your pick at DorsetAutomotive.com. New or pre-owned, you call the shots. Go ahead and give it a try. Point, click, and take your pick now at DorsetAutomotive.com.
And welcome to another edition of the Indiana State Basketball Coaches Show. My name is Ace Hunt, alongside the coach of the Sycamores, Greg Lansing. And Coach, not the results we wanted this week, but you know, that's life on the road in the Missouri Valley Conference.
It is life on the road, and we've had a really difficult start with the schedule. The people that we've played, I think in seeing Wichita, we've seen the class of the league. They're obviously what they've done in the past few years. Speaks for itself. And then this year now they're all healthy, and Van Fleet's back and healthy, and he played like the best point guard in the country against us. And then going to Southern, and they got 17 wins now, and only lost a couple of games, or lost 3 games, and they're playing awfully well and awfully confident. And we didn't play as well as we'd like, but it had a lot to do with the competition.
On Wednesday night at Southern Illinois, you know, if I told you before the game we were going to get their big man out of the game a minute in and leading scorer in the Valley out 3 minutes in, you know, you'd feel pretty good about that. But, you know, there wasn't a lot of flow to the game. I guess that's probably the best way to talk on that subject. But it was just tough to find the bottom of the basket on Wednesday.
Yeah, you know, and to start the game, I don't think too much about you know, the foul trouble and this and that with the opponent. That's kind of something the assistants keep track of, and all of a sudden both those guys are sitting over there, but yet it's 9-2. You know, I mean, we couldn't score, but we had really good shots. We missed layups, we missed free throws, and I felt like the start of the game was the best offense that we ran the entire game, and we didn't take advantage of it. But again, Southern Illinois is good, and Bean is a leading scorer, but they showed the talent that they have around him. Those other guys are good basketball players.
And I agree with you. I mean, shots were wide open, shots that we've been knocking down the last 10 games or so. It was just kind of it was just one of those tough luck nights. Not hardly anything went right.
It was, and you got to make your own luck. I mean, you really do. We just we haven't played as well as we need to, and it's affected our defense. I mean, we've given up 82 and 79 in the last 2 games, and that's not us. That's not us. That's got to be fixed, and that's on me, and we'll get that fixed. And offensively, the guys got to listen a little more. We have a tendency to, when we get down a little bit, kind of go our own way and get individual, and we've got a lot of little things that need fixing. I think that after Christmas, when we were doing 2-a-days and we really had the guys locked in, they were doing a lot on their own. Well, we got out to 4-1. I think they got a little bit content, and that can't happen. Now, I know some of them aren't content, but some of them quit doing that extra stuff, and we reverted back to some of our old ways, and we got to get that fixed and get it fixed soon, because we got a heck of a basketball team coming here Sunday.
One guy that to me is not content and is playing very hard, Everett Clemens, your point guard, 16 rebounds on Wednesday night. That's the most since Matt Wren had 15 on his senior night, also against Southern Illinois in 2001. You know, Everett made those Sycamore basketball plays, calling a timeout on the baseline in the first half. You know, that kid's really playing hard. He
is, and anytime, you know, rebounding is just effort. And he goes and gets them, and he's in a crowd, he runs them down, and he does it at both ends of the floor. And he's made many effort plays for us. He's picked us up when we put him in the game, and he's a starter for us coming off the bench. We got to get him on the offensive end, you know, leading the show a little bit, and that just comes with playing with these guys more. You know, he's taken over a new team when he comes in there. You have Devontae out there as your point guard to start the game, and he's got to run the show, be very confident at that offensive end. People aren't guarding him, so he's learning to play off of that a little bit. But anytime you go get rebounds like that, that's just really playing hard.
One of the things you and Lou have ingrained in my brain over the, gosh, decade.
One of the many things we've tried anyway.
Over the, that's hard to think about, over the decade we've been here together, this go around for you, is you always talk about, you know, having to get the JUCO out of somebody, but you haven't had to do that with Everett, and he's really probably the first one I've ever seen here at Indiana State where he's came in Division I ready.
Well, there's no question. I think Everett is too, and those guys are a little different than a lot of them, you know, and we say that tongue-in-cheek, you know, people usually have to go junior college for a reason, whether it's of academics or because of being under-recruited, but Everett was a, you know, really good football player, good basketball player, and he went right down the road there to Vincennes, where Todd Franklin is as good as any JUCO coach in the country, and same with Niels coming out of Howard, just very, very well coached. These guys have been well coached, but what happens is, and it's just like a freshman coming in here, everything's new. It's very rare that you come in and the head coach at your new school does exactly what the old head coach did, so you got to learn. And I mean, at Vincennes, they pounded India. Here's how we're doing things, and it's very fundamental. And here he's allowed a little more freedom, but there's a different plan on the defensive end, the way we do things, you know, and just organizing that. But it's a different system. It takes time, and those guys are getting there, but no one plays harder than Everett.
Well, and you talk about Vincennes, they've sent players here. They send them to Wichita State, very good. There's one at Kentucky right now. I mean, that's a top-flight JUCO program.
Yeah, they were undefeated till the last game of the year last year, going until a tournament game. They got beat. I think they won their first 33 and went 33-1, and went to the national tournament. And there's guys sprinkled all over Division I rosters all over the place. So that's a great place to go. And you get guys that have been well prepared. They've been yelled at. Yep. They've been coached. And Everett was a good find for us, for the staff going in there and getting him. And glad we're going to have him for another year too.
And it is going to be nice to have him around. When we come back, we'll talk about last Sunday's game at Wichita State and the big ultimate viewing party at the Indiana Theater. You're watching the Indiana State Basketball Coaches Show. And welcome back to the Indiana State Basketball Coaches Show. Coach, last Sunday made the annual trek out to Wichita State. What a wonderful college basketball environment. I don't know if you noticed, but they didn't have a national anthem singer. It was 10,000 people singing the national anthem. It was kind of like a World Cup type atmosphere. I thought it brought a little tear to my eye.
It really did. That was an emotional. The band got going, and then everybody sang it. They've got it figured out there from top to bottom, the way they do things, the way they've run things, from their pregame to their postgame to their halftimes to their game management. We should take some of our people along out there and really learn from them. But that's one of the elite basketball programs in the country, and you're saying that, and they're in the Missouri Valley. They've been to a couple Final Four. You know, they've been to Final Four. They've been in the Elite Eight. They've beat the nation's best programs. They've won championships, and they got it figured out. And they get 10,500 in that place, on their feet, rocking. It is a lot of fun to go there. Obviously, it's a great place to recruit to. They get unbelievable. We don't ever recruit against Wichita. They're recruiting against Kansas States and Oklahoma States and people like that. So it's a whole different element, but a lot of fun going there. And I would like to beat them here. They've got us, I think, 5-6 straight times, and we fought them pretty hard. And in the second half, we let it get away from us.
Talk about the play of Brenton in the first half of that game. He hit some tough shots. You know, Matt Wren was telling me on the way down to Carbondale, you know, Wichita just doesn't give you what we term good shots. And, but Brenton hit some tough ones in their building.
Well, it's twofold with Brenton. You know, he can score. He can make tough shots. He can make open ones too, and we try to get him more open ones. And I think over the last couple games, he's gotten into just trying to, because he scored so well the previous two games, he's gotten into a little bit too much one-on-one, and he doesn't have to do that. I mean, we need to move the basketball a little bit better, and it's not just him. We're over-dribbling again, which has been an Achilles heel from us. You look last night, 5 assists and 20 turnovers, and as a coach, that's embarrassing to say. But Brenton can score it, but he's got to pick and choose when his spots are. He can create it, but we have to move the basketball first. You know, I look at the San Antonio Spurs again, and then we talk about those guys. It's an elite NBA team, but that basketball pops around. If you don't have shot, straight line drive, you got to pass the basketball, and we got to get back to moving a little better.
Talk about Brenton on Wednesday night at Southern Illinois. That may have been really the first time in his career where he was the focal point of another team's defense, solely. You always talk about he played with his twin brother Bryson, who had the bigger numbers and got a little more attention growing up.
Yeah.
But Brenton was the focus last night.
Yeah, and he didn't handle that very well. He's got to learn. That's another thing. 90% to 93% of basketball is played without the ball in your hands.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to play without the ball in your hands. You have to have an impact at both ends of the floor and do things when you don't have it. And they face guarded him, played on top of him, and he just didn't handle it real well. He runs to the ball too much, and that really affects our offense. But we're going to work on that. It's good to be able to show him film. Here's how people are playing you, and here's how you need to feed off of it. But yeah, he was a focal point. He and Devontae were. Devontae still managed to tough out a really nice outing, but. He's going to see all kinds of defenses, and we got to help him.
Talk about out at Wichita State. You get that thing down to a 4-point game in the second half, and we're playing well. You're playing with the toughness you need to win on the road. But boy, there's a couple of tough guys out there in Wichita. That just basically took over the game.
Yeah, and I know their staff real well, and they said in the second half, and I've watched a ton of film on him. That was as good as Fred VanVleet's been. I mean, he's outstanding. I call him the best pure point guard in the country, and he is so good and plays every possession. He does everything, plays the right way, and then so does Ronnie Baker. They have 2 All-Americans back there and 2 draftable NBA guys, and talking to the NBA guys, and they put on a spurt, and they're as good at runs, making runs as there is in the country. We didn't handle it very well, and the same thing happened at Southern. And these teams make runs. That's when you got to come together. You've got to be tied in. You've got to be locked in, and instead of you going your own separate ways and into your own stuff. And we got to get that corrected.
While we were out at Wichita, our good friends at the Indiana Theater and Jeremiah Turner and Phil Ness and Jeff Juke over in the foundation put together a really nice event, the ultimate viewing party at the Indiana Theater.
Yeah, I heard it was really nice, the people there, and we have to thank Rob Lundstrom, obviously the Indiana Theater, and all the good people at the Copper. Their family, they do a lot for us, and all kind of through Greg Gibson there. It's just, it means a lot to us, and it's a great place to go if you haven't been to the Indiana Theater. They have all kinds of nice events there. Really neat to step in there, and I'm glad they did that. Wish we could have given them a better show in the last 10 minutes.
It's a beautiful, historic place in Terre Haute, and I know you're honored to have your game shown there.
Yeah, there's no question. I wish we could get every road game shown there, or all those people go with us, but it's a great place to congregate. It's a great thing to do, and we really appreciate the support of those guys.
Coach, we'll talk more about the upcoming week later in the show. You're watching the Indiana State Basketball Coaches Show. And welcome back to the Indiana State Basketball Coaches Show. We are alongside Josh Keister, assistant coach for the Indiana State women's basketball team in his second season here with the program. Josh, a couple of strong starts on the road trip at Northern Iowa and Drake, but you were playing 2 really good teams, and the second half not so much both times, but you had to be happy with the effort. You battled some adversity with some injuries over the weekend as well.
Yeah, we did. We started off at Drake last Friday night, and they're picked second in the league preseason. I'm not sure they're not the best team in the league, and have the best player in the league in Lizzie Wendell that averages about 22 a game. And very good team, very good program, a lot of experience back. They're a team that's beaten Iowa State and Wisconsin in the non-conference. Very tough to beat at home. We played them really tough the first half. It was down 2 at halftime, and then they came out and got hot in the third quarter, had a great third quarter, and it kind of just got away from us.
It was a little bit of a homecoming for you in a way. You were from the Waterloo area. Your wife just down the road in Omaha. I know it had to be good for you to at least get back in your home area, although you tell me your parents got smart and they're snowbirds now during the winter in Florida.
Yeah, it's always nice for me to get back to Iowa. I grew up in Waterloo, Cedar Falls. Grew up right next door to Northern Iowa, and so very familiar with the valley. And the only tough thing is our team when we're there, just with the temperature being about 20 below degrees, can't couldn't figure out why I grew up there and why I lived in Iowa. But it's always good to go back. I was able to see a couple friends and get back to a familiar area.
Talk about your past. This isn't the first time you've coached with Coach Joey Wells. You were his head coach in a previous life, so I know it's good for you two to be working together again.
It is. It's funny how this profession works sometimes. And me and Joey had been together at a Division II school at Missouri Western. I was an assistant there for about 8 years, and I got the head job when my boss left for another job, and hired Joey, who I knew a little bit from his time in Texas, and we spent 3 really good years there. Last year we won 30 games. I ended up moving on to TCU from there, and he went to Lamar, both Division I opportunities in Texas. And you never know if you're ever going to coach together again. And unique situation when Joey came here and was able to get the job. So it was a no-brainer for me when he made the phone call to get back with him. And I think sometimes he gets me back for the times I probably was, when he was my assistant. Yeah. I think he gets me back now.
Big weekend coming up for the women's team. You're playing Loyola. Got a professional women's basketball legend and Cheryl Swoops coming in to coach the Ramblers, and then you got Bradley on Sunday, half-price tickets and a doubleheader with the men. You guys play at noon. The men will play at 4 p.m. Big day in the Holman Center and a big weekend for the women's team.
It is. It's an important weekend for us to get back home with 2 home games, and got a very good Loyola team coming here Friday night. A bit of a surprise. They're 5-1 in the league. I think they've jumped up and surprised some people early on. They've got the best post player in the league in Taylor Manuel, who is a 6'3", 6'4" monster. Just a big kid, big-bodied. She started her career out at Purdue. Was a Big Ten Freshman of the Year, so she's extremely talented. They kind of play around her, and obviously is going to be a big presence for them inside. And then come back home Sunday and then have Bradley in here, a little bit of a younger team, still trying to find its way a little bit, but plays hard. And it should be a good day out here Sunday with our men playing the doubleheader against a rival in Evansville in the afternoon, and hopefully we can have 2 great crowds.
What are your thoughts on, you've been at the TCU level where you travel all over the country. You've been at the Division II level where I'm sure there's a lot of men's, women's doubleheaders. Yep. In the Missouri Valley Conference for the women, you basically get 4 or 5 days off. You play a game, 1 day off, you play the next one. What's it like to go through a weekend? That's 2 games in 3 days.
It's tough. I think that's probably the toughest thing about the women's schedule in the Valley is just the Fridays and Sundays. You get on the bus and leave on Thursday, and you don't get back till Sunday night. So it's 4 long days, and it's tough to. You're playing on the road Friday night, you stay there, you bus to the next place on Saturday, and you have a quick turnaround playing Sunday afternoon. And so you're always trying to at least get a split on the road if you can. It's tough on that Sunday game to bounce back, especially it works either way. If you lose Friday night, you're hungry to try to get that win on Sunday, and if you win Friday night, you feel a little bit better about yourself going in there on Sunday. But it's definitely the biggest challenge of the schedule is to play the Friday, Sundays. And the team that can handle it the best throughout the course of that 18-game schedule is usually one that comes out on top in the end.
There was nothing better in women's basketball my time with the program than winning that first one on the road.
Friday night, it's a lot better feeling getting up Saturday morning with the win.
Yeah, I always enjoyed that a whole lot more. Thanks for joining us. You're watching the Indiana State Basketball Coaches Show. And welcome back to the Indiana State Basketball Coaches Show. Coach, big week coming up. You're back home for 2 games, and you started off with a big one against in-state rival Evansville. It'd be nice to knock off the Purple Aces tomorrow in Holman Center.
Yeah, it's huge in the standings right now. You have Wichita there undefeated, and then a game behind them is Evansville and Southern, a couple teams that all 3 teams we've seen, so we know what the standard is. But we need to get them. Evansville's awfully good and very well coached, and two of the best players in the league and in the country, I think, and DJ Ballantyne and Makavicius inside. And Marty just does an unbelievable job of coaching these guys, and the really only true motion offense in the country. And nothing is ever easy when you play them. And I know the Broncos and the Patriots are on, but I'm pleading to fans, please. We got a great team coming in here, and we need your support. And record that game. I think maybe I will as well. If we happen to win, I'll be watching it. But I'd rather have you in the Holman Center than watching that game in front of TV.
Coach, I know you want to mention too, all tickets half price, so we're making it even more affordable than normal for people to come in on Sunday.
It's already as cheap as high school games, you know, our tickets, and we're trying to do anything to drum up support and get people into the Holman Center and make our home games the thing to do. And we're going to keep trying. We're going to come watch us play, and I think you'll come back because I think it's a good product.
The Evansville game is, you know, the first return game of the Missouri Valley Conference season for you. So it's a little bit of a different experience for the guys now. Not only do you have the scouting report and you're watching film, they've also got it in their memory of what it was like the first time to play the Aces.
Yeah, and we were right there with them. I think we had a 1-point lead with about 5.5 to go in that game, and DJ Ballantyne, as he does all the time, put on his own 8-0 run, and they're just really good. They are not going to beat themselves. They're a tremendous passing team, very high IQ team, a lot of seniors, very veteran, and this is their team. They've built to this year to make the NCAA tournament, to try to win a championship, and we always have good battles with them, and we're going to need to fight like crazy on a possession-by-possession basis.
And they got a nice advantage inside. Big Mock leading the country, 15 double-doubles already. I mean, he has really grown from a freshman to this year.
Yeah, it's a credit to their program and their staff, and to Big Mock, how hard he's worked. He has really improved, and he's going to make a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. And I like how hard he plays. I like that he has the toughness that he plays with. And rebounding, you have to go get it. You know, when you're that size, you look at some of our interior guys, they're doing a good job of blocking out, but then you got to go get the rebound. He's probably the best defensive rebounder in the country. And then you throw into it the offensive stuff that he does. Very unselfish, but he picks and chooses, and they look for him.
2 days of practice for the Evansville plus the game day practice. What are some of the things you're going to be working on to get ready for this big game?
Just coming back on the bus last night, there's just so many little things that we're just taking a step backwards with, transition defense and giving up way too many of those, fouling, and just not being difficult to play against, and got to get back to our shell defensive principles. We've kind of gotten away from some of the basic fundamental defensive things that we do and just been guarding the other team. So we got to work on that, and we have got to start moving the basketball better. I think we're a difficult team to guard with good basketball players, but if you don't share the ball and make the defense move, looking at Sunday against Evansville, we're really going to need to make it move. You're going to struggle.
Well, Coach, let's go 1-0 tomorrow against Evansville.
It'd be nice. Thanks, Ace.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. You've been watching the Indiana State Basketball Coaches Show.